Hello and welcome to AZAAZ. That's Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho. This is Volume 1, Issue number 9 for Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. From Zenatta Consulting, I am Brett Martin, and I am joined by Tyler Colt, Greg Belknap, and Josh Oliver. We are here to answer all of your questions that you have posted to us on YouTube or in Club Zenatta in the Ask AZAAZ section, and we are going to just tell you the answers that we hope we have. Now, hopefully they're correct. If they're not, we're sorry. Spend a few hours, see if they work or not. But I think we got some good answers for you here today. And with that, let's get right on into the first question, and we'll start it off with Tyler.
Alrighty, so this is a question from Inam over on Club Zenatta. Looks like this was in our general discussion forum there. So question is, how can I assign customers to a contact owner every time automatically when they contact again in the CRM? I want to copy that contact to departments. Thanks. So a couple things here. You can definitely reassign or change the owner of contacts via workflows based on certain edits. The trick would be like defining when exactly you want this to happen, right? So you could trigger it on like an email being sent in from that person, or an update to the record, a task being completed, meeting being scheduled. The one thing I'll highlight here as well is kind of the second part of that request, getting them to an entire department. So within the CRM, it's only going to allow you to have one owner for a particular record. It can't be owned by a team. The workaround there is to make sure that you've got your role hierarchy set up well. So let's say that Brett and I are on the sales team, and Greg and Josh are on the operations team, and maybe a record only needs to be seen by the operations team right now, or that department. If I have them in the same role and I have it set up so that they can share data with peers, I can assign it to Josh or Greg, and they'll both be able to see it, right? Because they're a part of that same group or team. If it's really important to kind of balance the load between a department, you could write a little deluge function that would do like a round robin, right? And get all the people in the certain role, rotate through them, and make sure that everything is spread out. But yeah, so we'll have to be individuals, not departments, but you can kind of share it based on how you need it with those role settings.
All right, next one here from Trula. After watching, this is a comment on one of our YouTube videos, Zoho Inventory Item Management Tutorial 2021. Trula asks, I need to remove an item for sampling. How can I adjust? So I guess it depends on what you're sampling. Is it a sample for maybe an item you're just checking into making sure like items are done properly, or is this a sample for a customer that you are sending out with an order? So it kind of two different answers. I would say if it's customer related, go ahead and create a sales order or include that in a sales order that they are purchasing. So if they already have an order and you're just including a sample with that, then hopefully you have a sample item created and you're just going to throw that in that sales order. If you are removing an item from stock so that you can check the quality, maybe it's not going to a customer, it's just for internal use, just throw that as an inventory adjustment and you should be all good there. Quick answer. Two different ways to go about it depending on if it's linked to a customer.
All righty. Hopefully that answers your question, Trula.
This next question comes from Jess Parker in response to our Zoho Desk Introduction to Tickets tutorial from 2021. How can I remove the ticket number from the subject in my response? So this is an interesting one that had to do a little bit of digging on, and there's a few different ways that when you create tickets or respond to tickets of how they are actually sent. And we'll go ahead and bring up my screen share here. There is a setting in your general settings. So if you go to the setup, under customization, general settings, there is this send as email option, which is where an agent can just send an outbound email to a new or existing contact. If you have that turned on, then when you are creating a ticket, you have the option to extend this up just a little bit. There's a little blue button down here saying send as email. And when you select that, after I put in email here, self in there, then when you click send as email, gotta put in the subject, just a thing, and the description, this too. Then there is a little checkbox up here that is defaulted to being checked saying add ticket ID to email's subject. So you can uncheck that and then submit and send for creating that ticket, and then the ticket going out to the individual will not have the ticket number in the subject line. Alternatively, the ticket number may also be appearing because of different email templates that you have. So under the templates, under customization, there's a number of different email templates that get sent out. For example, when your agent is notified if a ticket got assigned to them, which you might have enabled, or when the contact is notified when a ticket has been created on their behalf. You can come into any of these email templates and find the request ID, and if you don't want that ID, if you don't want that ticket number to show up in the subject line, you can simply remove it from this part of the template and then re-save it. So, so a couple of different spots where those ID numbers, those ticket ID numbers could show up, but there are a few different ways that you can not have them there.
And what's cool too is you can actually change with those automated templates. You can change whatever placeholder is. Maybe you want to use a different case number or a project number instead of a ticket ID. You could change that with a different placeholder using one of those merge tags.
And our next question comes from Michael, who over on Club Z dropped this in our Q&A for AZAAZ, and the title of this question is Drip Sequences. And he's asking, what would be the best way to implement in Zoho CRM a custom drip sequence with email, SMS with Zoho Voice, direct mail from something like Blob, ringless voicemail via Sly Broadcast, etc. We want the ability to have time delays to be able to start and pause the drip anytime and have it all logged in the CRM, possibly in the timeline, to see where the contact is in the journey. What would be the best way to go about this if it is possible? Maybe the command center, workflows, blueprints. Also, have you implemented something like this for clients before? Yes, we have definitely set this up for clients before, and we generally use it through workflows. I mean, the bottom line here is if there's an API, we can make it work pretty much through a script and through a workflow. And then using that also, we can log it for you across the board. So, a lot of these are kind of duplicates. So you've got, SMS with Zoho Voice, and then, some direct mail. But I mean, depending on what you're using, it's going to be pretty straightforward. But I don't think Blueprints isn't going to get it done. Command Center, not really, but workflows, you could make this whole thing work for you.
Yeah, I mean, blueprints are more of like a structured way to move through a set of options, like a deal stage. So yeah, I mean, I think, Brett, what you said is perfect, right? Workflows to do these. Workflows and the future actions are going to show in that timeline section. So if like an email is scheduled to go out in 2 weeks, it'll actually show that in the upcoming actions there at the top of the timeline. The only, I would say, caveat is and this would be with most things in CRM, it's a little tough to like pause a certain drip and then put them back in dynamically. So little consideration there. You could definitely take them out of it, right, dynamically once they've like hit certain criteria. But yeah, definitely comfort zone stuff. And really a lot of this is just going to be in the workflows.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to pause and restart, you're basically going to have multiple workflows that have every single step along the way. So you'll have one workflow that has all 5 steps, and if you never pause it, then you might have one that has the final 4, and then 3, then 2, then 1, and you would exit them out of a workflow at any given time, look at their timeline, say, okay, I want to put them back in starting with sequence 3. So you put them into the sequence 3 workflow and it would start that way. So not particularly elegant. I don't know any other better option than that, guys. Greg's head spinning over there.
Yeah, that's kind of the brute force way. If you need to take them out, put them in, have it dynamic that way.
Okay, next question here from Cameron. He posted a question in Club Zenatta, and he asks, in our Zoho Projects portal, users have reported many instances where they have uploaded documents to a task or a project, but the documents are not visible to other users or even the user that did the upload when they revisit the project or task. Is there a setting required for documents to work properly within the Zoho Projects application? Is WorkDrive required for all users in order for documents to work? Separately, is it possible to link Google shared drives using Google Drive Cloud upload option presented in the file upload menu in Zoho Projects? Okay, so this is two parts. For any users or for any Zoho users that have started up projects within the last year, Zoho WorkDrive is going to be managing your file uploads. If you were before that, or I don't remember when the actual cutoff date was, it was either a year ago or 2 years ago, I'm not sure. But if you're within the last year, certainly you're using WorkDrive. If you're before that, then it was Zoho Docs. And if you're on the new Zoho WorkDrive extension integration with Zoho Projects, all users do need to be added to WorkDrive for them to view those documents. I think they should be able to upload files, but I guess there's an issue with viewing them if they're not added to WorkDrive. Now, I wasn't able to test this. I'm not really sure what the actual issue is. You might need to create a ticket with Zoho support, but likely my guess is there's permissions issue within WorkDrive that is causing that issue. So make sure they're all added to WorkDrive, and that should fix the issue. If you're on the old Zoho Docs, maybe it's a permissions issue with Zoho Docs, but somewhere there's a permissions issue that's preventing them from seeing those files. So likely you'll need to create a ticket with Zoho support to get that resolved.
You're going to want to
second part to this. Anyway. Sorry, what did you say, Brett?
I was going to say you're gonna want to switch to WorkDrive anyway. It's coming. I don't know. The deadline is. I know they pushed it back, but it's like any day now. It's around the corner.
It's starting to give fully end of life. I did have a client reach out that had never moved over, and it broke some of their mail merge, so we had to bump it over to WorkDrive for them. Easy. It was actually a super easy migration, but
do you know how to do that? Is there a button inside of projects, or do you have to contact support to make that migration?
Oh, to migrate on the back end of projects, I think it does it when you migrate the docs. Like when you do the docs to WorkDrive migration, it should cover the integration to projects, I believe. Put an asterisk on that.
We'll have to look into that. So you're saying if you go into docs, then there's a button and within docs.zoho.com to migrate over to WorkDrive.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into that. But either way, with Cameron's question here, I'm thinking it's a permissions issue. So if you're not already on the WorkDrive integration, go ahead and switch over to that and do that migration. The second part to this is Cameron's asking, is it possible to link Google shared drives to the project using the file upload menu bar? And so whenever you do a file upload, there's a little option that says link or upload from Google Drive or upload from, there's a few different options in there. Now, whenever you're uploading a file and you can choose from one of those other cloud drives, it is uploading it to WorkDrive in its current version. It's not like a live link or a dynamic link that's going to link you back into Google Drive. It's just downloading it and uploading it directly into WorkDrive or Zoho Docs, whichever one you're using, in its current state. So there is no integration to Google shared drives. Really, it's just allowing you to easily grab a document and throw it into WorkDrive in its current state. Hope that helps.
Alrighty, next question coming here from Andreas, asked over on YouTube on episode 250 of the CRM Zen Show. Great show. Thanks, Andreas. We try. The global set has messed up my mail CRM integration. The global sets show up as numbers in Zoho Mail instead of as names. Any idea? So this is kind of asking about the new global sets functionality within CRM. For anyone who doesn't know, essentially a way to create a set of pick list options and use them across more than one module. So for things like lead source, industry, right, that you want to have those same options everywhere, you can just go ahead and use a global set. So yeah, the reported issue here is essentially that in the mail integration, they don't show up that way. I was kind of gonna look on our side, but we haven't moved any over to global sets. Guys, have any of you heard this reported as a bug from anyone?
No, but it makes sense. It sounds like they're moving. Global sets is like a lookup field to whichever module, or held within whichever module you've added them. And so it's probably presenting the lookup ID instead of the actual name of whatever
pick list value
is.
has a pick list value ID, right?
Yeah.
You have the pick list value ID and the label, and we always see labels, but all of them have value IDs, right, that get associated. Andreas, what might help, honestly, I could open up a ticket or let Zoho know, because I bet this is just a bug in the new feature. If you jump over to club.zenatta.com, make a post there with a quick screenshot of what you're seeing. That would help us out, because I'd love to get that in front of Zoho. Sounds like just an oversight there that they can get sorted out.
Yeah, I imagine he's trying to insert a value into an email, and it's just throwing up a number, is my guess. What's happening, right?
Getting the pick list ID.
Yeah, because I said when they say mail CRM integration, do they just mean like they set up the IMAP for their Gmail account and they're trying to send an email?
Or
are they
might be
talking about an
Zoho
actual
Mail. In like Zoho Mail, they have a CRM integration where you can see like all the different options. Like I could create a lead or create a contact from an email. So it could be looking at that. And that's why hopefully we can get a screenshot from you, and then I can send it over to Zoho, because they'd want to get that fixed ASAP.
All right. And this question comes from Craig Howell on my tutorial video about getting started with Deluge about editing data. He asks, can you show an example of how to use a function during record creation that copies the value from one field to another? I get how to do this during edit and view, but during creation, this does not seem to work. So what he's talking about here is, if I'm understanding his question correctly, that while on the creating a record page of how do you get values to come from, say, when you're creating a deal and you put an account on there, how do you get certain account information if you wanted to have that populate into a deal record? And so, as he's saying, he understands the edit and view, which in my video is talking about when you're setting up like workflow rules and things like that to run on a record being edited. You change the value of a field, and then your function runs. I believe this is talking about on the create page. And so the answer, Craig, is we don't use Deluge for that. We actually use something called client scripting, which is written in JavaScript, where on the create page, you can set up JavaScript functions that can pull some data from elsewhere in the CRM, or I mean, really anywhere on the internet, just however you set it up, because it's all custom coding. But then that can actually fill in those fields on the create page, rather than having to save the record and then wait for a workflow rule to run. It's a little bit more of a complicated thing than I want to go into here just on AZAAZ, but we do have a few code shares on Club Z. So if you head over to club.zenatta.com, join our community there, join the code share forum, then we have some client server ones. I think specifically about this of being able to pull other record information on creating a new record.
Yep. And if you don't want to dive into the JavaScript too, know that once you save that record on creation, that workflow will run, right? And it'll pull that data in just like it does. So back before client scripts, now we love using client scripts for everything. But if you wanted to avoid the JavaScript, you could just put tooltips, like the little in-field tooltips on those fields that say these will autofill, right? Or autofill from account, right? And then, once they save it, they'll just go ahead and get filled in. Because I know about you guys, but I don't like working in JavaScript very much. So if he's like me, maybe you'd prefer to just keep it in Deluge.
Yep.
Or if you want to do all of this in Creator, you don't have to worry about any of that and just use Creator Deluge. So that
each of us is a hammer and we see our own
You don't
nail,
want to have to use a
right?
tooltip. You could also use layout rules to hide those things that are going to be autofilled.
Yeah.
So that they
That's a
only
nice way
are
to do it.
shown, when the things get filled in.
Might
The
be
client
the
script
best.
is really cool, really, really cool. And it's super nice. And they just, I don't know, in the last 3, 4, 5 months, they turned it on for mobile as well, which is super, super nice.
Huge.
So that,
That's
so when
huge
you're in something
to get that done.
Yes, it is. So, all righty. And that ties into our very next question. So John Oliver asks, and by the way, John, you share the same last name with Josh, and oftentimes we see stuff and we just ignore it because we think it's just Josh. And, I don't know. Anyway, we see
ignore it.
question from you. I think it's just Josh asking. Literally, we were looking at this question the other day, and I thought Josh had posted something, so we almost didn't answer this question. I didn't mean it that way.
I don't get my questions.
Anyway,
answered.
over at Club Z, John is asking, I'm wondering if there are significant differences between the mobile experience using Android or iOS. For my purposes, I would mostly be looking at CRM, project books, etc. I saw some comments and reviews mentioning that iOS might have more complete experience, and I thought I would check your experiences and see if you have seen differences between the two and which platform was developed quicker with any new updates, etc. So, John, it's kind of interesting. Zoho actually is an Apple house. So all of their people use Apple products. They've got Apple laptops, Apple desktops, iPhones. So you almost always see iOS first, and then you'll follow on with Android. Or they'll be together. You'll see iOS and Android updates together. But I don't think I've ever seen, hey, it was done for Android, and then 3 weeks later it was done for iOS. It's almost always the other way around. But it isn't usually too much of a lag. There is feature parity. I would say it rarely goes more than a week or two before you have that kind of feature parity between the two applications. So I don't think you're really missing all that much if you can just wait a week or two for features to appear in Android. But they're usually same day. I mean, and if not, like I say, not too far off. Have you guys had the same experience?
Yeah, I mean, I know they're generally really quick too when like new iOS has come out to take advantage of all the new stuff. Like I remember when iPhone started doing OCR, right? And then every Zoho app had OCR like a week later, right? But like you're mentioning, Brett, it's pretty rare that there's a difference in features for more than a short period of time before something comes out. I know like the iPad apps people really love. I would assume the tablet apps on the Android side are probably pretty darn similar, right? So, I wouldn't factor it too much into your decision, I would say.
Hopefully that helps, John. All right. Only 8 questions this week, guys. What will we do?
It's a new record.
It is. We brought it in under 35 minutes, 40 minutes. Pretty good. All right. Well, hey, everybody. I want to thank you so much for dropping in and watching our show. If you have any questions, please head over to club.zenatta.com, and there's a whole little form there called Ask AZAAZ. Put the question in there, or if you're on the YouTube channel and you leave a comment or question on any of our YouTube videos, we will be happy to answer them. Additionally, if you would like to book a meeting with us, just head over to zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting, and we'll be talking to you before you know it.
On the website is also where you'll find complete episodes of our podcast, The CRM Zen Show, where we cover all the news in the world of Zoho every single week. If you want that news delivered to your inbox, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And as always, we would love and appreciate if you would like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app, as that really does help us out and make sure that our videos show up for you when we post new ones. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.